Rose.
Welcome to the Rose Show. So this picture here is a toy that I used to play with when I was a kid. Some of you might recognize it. You put the shapes into
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
the ball.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Fisher Price, I think.
I wrote a poem about this toy because the first part of the poem is sort of my first reaction to it when I look at it as an adult. And the second part of the poem is sort of my second reaction as I look at it as a more spiritual perspective. And so that's how we can go through life. You know, you might look at any situation with your first reaction might be whatever your first reaction is. And then you can choose a second reaction. You can say, wait a minute, I don't have to react that way. So that's a process that I continue to develop every day. So the poem is called In the Center. I didn't like that plastic toy, and I will tell you why. I saw artificial borders teaching kids to categorize. If you stereotype the pieces and separate them based on shape, I would like to be the circle, but I'm being pushed through a triangular space. Looking at the toy again, I thought of a different way to view it. Now I see a container representing a giant planet. I imagine kids bringing different shapes together in the center, dancing in celebration of diversity and unity. Life is like a game. You choose how to play, and that's what creates your reality. Instead of motivating people to be the winner, let's build win-win situations, playing together on the same team. We can produce long-term transformations. Visualize the shapes in that toy representing people from different paths of the world, coming together into the center, dancing and living in harmony as one. So,
Very good.
I was going to make it into a song, but I thought it would be nice to do it as a poem, something new for me, to just have a little more freedom with the words when you don't have to fit them into certain phrases and chords. So, Leanna, you sort of gave me that idea last week when you said that my lyrics were like poems, and maybe I didn't need the guitar so much every time, so that's why I brought up the keyboard too. So thank you for inspiring me. So this here says Baptist, Unitarian Universalist, Spiritualist, Pagan, and Unity member. So that's my path so far. I grew up in the Baptist church, and I was saved. They wrote it in my Bible one day, so I remember the day I was saved. And I accepted the things they told me to accept, and even though I didn't understand everything that I was supposed to accept. So then as an adult, I decided to change to the Unitarian Universalist Church, and they were much more open-minded, so I enjoyed that. I was living in Rochester, New York at that time. My mother told me that they don't believe in anything at that church. They don't believe in anything. I was like, huh. They believe in everything. They accept everything. Hi, Mary. Yeah, both of my parents were very strongly religious-minded. My dad read his Bible every day, and he underlined certain things, highlighted it. They met at a religious college called Coley Divinity School, and they both wanted to become professional. My dad wanted to be like somebody that goes into the hospitals, and my mom wanted to be a Sunday school teacher, which they never really ended up fulfilling either of those paths, but they met on their love for religion. But then it turned out my dad decided to convert to become a Catholic. My mom was not happy about that. So that was kept a secret from me and my brothers for a long time. And then when my mom passed away, my dad and my brother, one of my brothers told me. and that he'd been a Catholic for years. You know, I was surprised because he didn't go to church, but he read his Bible every day, so that's what matters. And so I guess that probably caused friction between them. They didn't talk about things much, in front of us. But unfortunately, religion does cause friction for people.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, to me, religion is meant to be about love and peace and harmony. So that's what I love about unity. So I do feel that. I feel that positive connection. I don't feel people judging each other, pressuring each other to agree on one set of beliefs. We can choose how we believe. So that's one of the things I love about unity. So after that spiritualist church in Rochester I went to for a while, I don't know, it was okay. It's like I've tried on all these different labels and they never really fit quite right. It's like you go to the store, you try something on, and you're like, well, it's a little loose, but maybe I'll grow into it. And then Pagan in Rochester, there was a group called Circle, and that's an acronym that stands for Community of Individuals Celebrating Life on Earth. That spells Circle. And it was a beautiful group. We would stand in a circle and hold hands and sing songs. I'd bring my drums sometimes, and there was an altar in each of the 4 directions. And so 4 different people would say a prayer. We'd start in the east, call in the spirits of the east, and go around the circle, and somebody would give a little talk, and we'd sing songs. And I really enjoyed that group a lot. So when I moved to Binghamton to be with my wife Sarah, who's here today, and I looked for a group similar to that here, but I couldn't find one. So that's maybe a unique kind of group they have in Rochester. So, but I did visit the Pagan group here, and it was very different, and I didn't get that warm, fuzzy, welcoming feeling that I was hoping for. So I only went to one gathering, and then I just faded away from that. And then I found unity. And isn't it interesting that these are all labels with it, except for unity? We're not unityists, right? We're just unity member. I couldn't think of a label for that, and that kind of made me happy. I don't really want to be labeled. Like you can say I'm a pagan, but you wouldn't say I'm a unity, right? It's because we're all pieces of one puzzle, and like we're just a piece of something. It's not black and white. It's like, maybe 10 years from now, this list for me will be longer. I don't know. I'm still young. I'm just on a path. But I'm really enjoying my time here. I've been here 2 years now as the music leader. And before that, I used to visit Unity once in a while. Usually when Jody Kessler was going to be the speaker, I would show up. And but I've been here, and I feel like I've grown spiritually, and I'm always inspired to write songs. And I encourage you all to do something creative, because it doesn't have to be writing songs, but there's a lot of different ways we can be creative, because that's how we express our divine energy, right? The Creator created, and we should also create, because we are creators. Divine energy is within us, but to release it and express it is where the power happens, because it expands. So I hope you do something creative every day. You can. Well, even going to work, if you go to work, you can do things creative there too, but it's usually a little more contained or limited. So if you have the freedom to do whatever you want, choose to do something creative. So this says, these are the 5 principles or beliefs that I found on the unity.org website. So if my mom were alive, she'd probably say unity doesn't believe in anything, just like she did about this. So I would say, well, here's what they believe in. God is good. People are good. Because God is within us. So Thoughts create reality on an individual level. Prayer is powerful, and action is needed. You can't just think about all these things, you actually have to do something. So, God, people, thoughts, prayer, action. That's how you can kind of boil it down to one sentence. God is in people, thoughts, prayer, lead to action. That's how I would say my elevator speech, maybe. An elevator speech is how you can summarize something that is very vast into something that you can say in 1 minute or less, is an elevator speech. And so I did actually write I wrote a little elevator speech. Yeah. And then I'm going to share 3 more that people emailed me because I asked people to email me their elevator speech for what is unity. Unity in the Southern Tier, more specifically. So unity is accepting of the beliefs of others, like I was saying earlier. Accepting, that's important for me. There is good in every approach to God. So all the different paths. You know, Jody Kessler talks about interfaith, that all the common things, the overlap between the different religions. And that resonates with me. And I looked for an interfaith church, but I haven't found one yet. Maybe because once you become a church, one thing, you're sort of excluding all the other ones. So maybe they don't have a church. Maybe they're just, every church is like part of the interfaith belief. But if anyone knows of one, let me know. Of an interfaith church. But they believe that all religions are equally good. So that's how I feel. Heaven and hell are states of consciousness, not geographic locations. That makes sense to me. I really have a hard time imagining a place up there and a place down there and somebody deciding where I'm going to go when I die. It doesn't make sense to me. But creating feelings of heaven or hell, I can imagine, and I've seen happen in the world. Like war to me that's hell. My dad fought in World War II and survived. He lived to be 88, and he died in 2012. So he didn't talk about it much. He became a very peaceful man after that. I think that sometimes hell can lead to heaven. I think that's what happened for my dad. He just learned how to have a very peaceful life. Raised 6 children with my mom. He was the stay-at-home dad back then. That was unusual.
Nice.
So, he was kind of a hermit. He didn't really like to go out. He's a very sweet, very gentle man. So we create our own heaven and hell by our thoughts and actions. Salvation is not something that happens after death. Salvation occurs when we transform our views. From anger, sadness, judgment, fear, worry, or doubt, to feelings of love, joy, peace, and harmony. Unity seeks direct knowledge of the divine. So it's a direct experience. That was how pagan gatherings were for me. It felt like a very direct connection, and I enjoyed that. You know, like when we called in spirits of the north, and then you could feel it in your body. So that's my elevator speech of what is unity. Now I have 3 more that people emailed to me that I want to share. So these words come from Liana. I think unity as a new thought church with the emphasis on the spiritual rather than the religious. That doesn't mean that it's not Christian-based. The early founders referred to Jesus as a teacher instead of someone to be worshipped. The primary teaching is that God is within. Everything is good. We emphasize affirmative prayer. It's directly available to us through Silent Unity. The group sits at the home base in Kansas City. They are available by phone 24 hours a day. I encourage you to use that service. Prayer is the real root of unity and healing results. Miracles have happened through prayer work. So, I agree with everything there. But isn't it interesting how each person can say a similar thing in a different way, their own little spin on it. So I encourage you all to do your own elevator speech if you haven't done yet, and something that's important to you. What is unity, or if there's another thing in your life that's important, and you want to be able to share an explanation of it with someone else, and see if you can do it in under a minute. Because that kind of helps you to focus on the important aspects of it. Sometimes we get sort of overwhelmed with details and go off on tangents. So try to be concise when you write your elevator speech. The next one comes from Becky. Unity is not incessant mind-numbing rituals, but people exploring and enlarging their spirituality together. Knowledge from many sources in a search for our beginnings and our divinity to explore, why are we here? It's a coming together of people of like conscience, and its joyful, ever-folding endeavor of learning together and from one another. I find unity to be exciting because it's opened up many doors for me as we share our knowledge and experiences engendered by our search. And quite simply, unity makes me happy and not so alone in my personal journey. The work of the Fillmores has given me great hope to humanity. Isn't that beautiful?
Very nice.
So, and from Vera, hers is more concise. Unity is an open, diverse, affirming church that does not teach or believe in hell. It gives more symbolic, metaphysical meaning to the Bible. God is the source, and we are God in form.
Perfect. That was perfect. That's good elevator speech.
So does anyone have any questions, comments that they would like to share?
Well, when you said about thoughts creating heaven and hell, when I was in second grade, my mother used to read me poetry. She would be bored when she'd iron. She'd recite poetry. And she recited this poem. It was out of a book about how we could have heaven on earth. It's all in our thinking. And that was that's when I opened up to these ideas. Because it was like a big light bulb went off, and I was aware finally of thinking your own thoughts. And I was so excited. I asked the teacher if I could read it to the class, because I thought everybody was going to be excited by it. The world should be excited by this idea. And she said, okay, and she was building things at her desk, and I stood by her desk, and no one really listened. The children were all doing things. And it was kind of sad, because I just wanted everybody to be excited about that idea. But that's, I think, what opened me up originally to these ideas. And the Seth work, it's just the same thing. You create your own reality. And when you talked of creativity, I remember the Seth quote. He said, creativity is what keeps us alive. That was his exact words.
Yeah, I like that.
I know, it's true.
Because otherwise, if we don't, we become stagnant, stale, moldy.
Angry with that.
You don't feel like you're achieving. It can be just a little thing, like doing little
It can
crafts, that's all.
implode in on you. I've experienced that. When you're not, it's energy. If you're not channeling that energy, you do start to become resentful, angry. You don't even know why you're feeling angry, because the energy is not, you're not using it. You're not using that God's energy that God gave us.
Yes, it becomes stagnant.
Yes.
And unhappy.
Yeah, it can make you sick too.
Well, that's probably why so many people are getting sick. That's one of the reasons. They're not letting their God energy be released. It's just like being trapped.
Yeah.
And then it comes out in other ways, like illness.
I've experienced that.
Can anyone else? Carla?
Well, basically, I'm a religious scientist. But it's the meanings are so close that the only thing that I think is different, just talking about religious science versus unity, unity emphasizes more about the Bible and Jesus, and religious science doesn't. But if I was in an elevator, it would be a very crowded elevator. And if somebody asked me about unity, I'd say, the first thing I'd say, change your thinking, change your life. Then I would follow with we're each a cell in the body of God.
I like that.
And we create our own reality. Absolutely.
We do. And that's, and it seems obvious, but some people don't agree, or
We thought of it that way.
yeah, they
just
feel
don't
like life
get
is
it
happening to them instead of
Yes.
they're creating their life.
Yeah.
They don't get it.
I didn't hear what Becky said, but Seth, Jane Roberts,
Right.
and Seth was my light bulb
First two.
back in the 70s. And I mean, I couldn't believe that I was in control of myself. My God, that was such, I couldn't believe it. Do you know, when I learned that, I got deathly ill.
Interesting.
I did. I had a terrible, terrible flu and bronchitis and all this. And I just kept thinking, your body is getting rid of the old. Because my parents always controlled me, always told me what I was supposed to do. I don't ever remember Mom and Dad asking us, what do you want to do?
Right. Right.
Never. So this was, we were living in Kirkwood, Missouri, and I was a Unitarian Universalist there, and they do believe, because everybody believes what they want to believe, and it's all accepted. Yeah.
Well, you reminded me of my mom when you said that, right? Because she said they don't believe anything. And then that reminded me of something my parents talked about the Bible. And when I asked my dad, why did you convert to become a Catholic? Because I was just kind of puzzled by that. His father was a Baptist minister. And I had visited a Catholic church once, and I just didn't resonate with me. So he said because they take the Bible literally, and that's what he likes. He said Protestants, they interpret it any old way they want. There's no right way, and it confused him, and he didn't know what was right, and he liked it to be clear. So that was why he switched, and he read his Bible every day.
Simple man.
So,
And that's a little bit strange for me because I have some acquaintance with the Baptists, and I consider them literalists. That they take the Bible and they say, we literally believe whatever is there, and there's a whole group like that. I consider them like conservative Bible readers.
But
well, I think what
So,
happened-
and that's what's funny, if he says Catholics do that, but that's what the Baptists do.
my mom didn't.
A lot of what?
My mom and my dad compromised on Baptist. She actually wanted. My mom wanted.
What it's
Peggy, do you want to share what you're saying?
Yeah, you want to say?
Yeah, a lot of the things in the Bible contradict each other.
Yeah.
So how can
Well, because they explain that. They literally explain it. There's no contradictions. Everything can be explained, and that's how I was taught in those churches. There's no contradictions. And they'll explain it to you. Don't worry.
I don't know what
So,
Catholic church your father went to. With Catholic church, they did not get into the Bible at all. I even went to pro
Right.
school. There was no
There's hardly any Bible, yeah.
really Bible
With
study
Catholics,
at
yeah.
all. So-
Well, he watched services on TV. He didn't really go out.
Oh, okay.
He never went. Well,
To
maybe
actual
once in a
church,
while.
you
But
watched the
he would sneak out. But it was like a secret. So I know he watched him on TV. They had the services on Stevie. But let me say, when I just finished, I was going to say my mom actually didn't really like the Baptists either. She couldn't find a church she liked. Before that, she was at a Presbyterian, and she played the organ there for them. And she she left the Baptist church because she felt like it was too masculine. Like if she said if they had a baby boy, if someone had a baby boy, it was like, congratulations. And if someone had a baby girl, it was like, better luck next time. So, as you can guess, my mom maybe exaggerates a little bit, but so she
But
didn't
no,
like,
I've heard that.
so she left the Baptist church. So I only went there for maybe a year, and then we didn't really go to church. So she had a hard time finding one that she really liked. So anyway, what were you gonna say?
Well, I wanted to ask too, I was going to say something, but when you mentioned that, can you tell everybody how many brothers you have?
5.
She has 5 brothers, and are you the only girl?
Yes.
She's the only girl, so they must have congratulated your mother like
Yes.
5 times.
She wanted a girl. That's why she kept.
And what
having
number
children.
are you in the line?
I'm the last one.
She's the last
If I had
one.
been third, they would have had 3 kids. She just wanted a girl, and then
She
she
wanted
stopped.
a girl.
She had to keep going until she got a girl. Thank God she finally didn't have to keep going.
Yeah, right, poor thing. So the other thing I wanted to mention, when you said there's no IST on Unity, on one of the websites that I was dealing with for Unity, when I was working on the website, they say Unity in the Southern Tier. And when you do Unity in the Southern Tier and you put the letters at the end, IST, you become a unitist. So it can also be a unitist also is there.
Yeah, and that rhymes with lunatic, so I don't know what that means. I'm just a poet and don't know. All right, so why don't we bring this, unless anyone else wants to share, we'll bring this part to a close. And we will move on to...
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
That was very creative. There was your
Oh.
creativity.
Yeah, this part was it.
Yeah. Touched up. Well, right now,
In a long time. She has this friend Joe, and they sort of play off of each other, and she's hysterical. So you have to see that side.
oh,
of
she's
Joe.
got many interesting sides. What about you?
I have a synchronistic moment. This Facebook, and somebody else who I don't really know posted a picture of that for some other random reason. I was like, I had never seen this toy before, and now I've seen it
Last
twice
time I can wear them.
the same day.
You know, like that was one of my favorite toys, and I was like, look, it's from the
It was the
70s.
shape.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, those are
But I mean,
fun.
I've never really seen it since I was a kid.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
and it came
I
out
thought
on
it was shocking. I
Facebook.
saw it. I think it was within 2 weeks. I was driving near the Hudson River where I live, down in Cornwall, New York. I was going across the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, actually, coming back from Beacon, and a bald eagle, like literally flew over my car and like swooped over my car. And it was so shocking. My kids and I were just like, oh my God. And my mom always says, think about what you were thinking about when you see the birds. And honestly, it wasn't, I can't even really remember. I tried to remember it was something to do with busy stuff going on in my life that's new now. But I think maybe it was like 3 or 4 days later, I was driving down, it's called Water Street in Newburgh, right near so I'm driving this way, and the river is on this side of me. And the same thing happened. Like, it flew over my car going this
Wow.
way. But first I saw, it was like a seagull, I think maybe, that flew this way and caught my attention so that I would see the eagle. And I went shoo, over my car. And I still have no idea what it means, but I know it's important.
It's always
It
something.
sounds like a unity moment.
That caught my attention. But
I think it's a message.
Yeah, some message.
It's a big spiritual message, because the ego is.
Yes, because there's always say they're
So
close to
beautiful,
God
too,
because He
with
flies
its
so
white
high.
hat.
No, it's not you.
Messengers, they're messengers.
So the egos are telling you you're fabulous. Really?
I had to take your job over.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. That's
Good for you.
That's back over. Does anyone else have a unity moment?
The other thing about animals, The other thing, if you see animals, there's a book out called Animals Speak.
I have
Oh,
that.
Ted
Oh,
Andrews.
if you have
I
that,
do. I didn't even look it up.
all you have to do is look it up and
I
it'll
know
tell.
what eagles mean, but to me, I know it's so hard.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
you
a
have to
Ted
really
Andrews
figure out what it
book,
means.
yeah.
For you
Your
personally,
soul,
yeah, for your
personally.
soul.
So I think it's just something that's going to keep unfolding. I think it's a message I'm probably not getting yet.
Yeah.
So, all right, now we're on to the blessing of the prayer request.
Of different daily words, but this vitality
We do that.
kind of spoke to me. I am whole and vitally alive. There is no separation between my body and its source of energy, between me and God. I now call forth the innate vitality of God that expresses through me. I feel a tingling energy awakening the cells of my body and enlivening my mind. I am renewed, restored, and healed as I tap into the eternal power of divine life. This feeling of exhilaration is available to me at any time because the vitality of God never tires. I can stop in any moment and feel the rhythm of life in my heartbeat and remember I am naturally whole. I have the vital elements of life, those necessary to human thriving, as well as the divine attributes I carry as the image of God. I am joyous, health, perfect peace, and divine life expressing. I love that. And I think it's something we need as we're starting in the winter.
Beautiful to think about together.
Thank you, Helen, that was very nice. Good pick.
I guess now we're gonna have a little.
I
prayer.
Mother Mary, and I do feel her with, I'm like shaking, my eyes started doing the cycle, there's energy coming through. I really don't even know what we're gonna do, but I feel like we need to take a few deep breaths, so let's start with that. Even that God's life, energy, all the way down to our bellies and down to our feet. I'd like to maybe 3 breaths. And as we're breathing into our deep cells in our belly, to our whole body, every cell, down to our feet, I like to ground so we can picture that grounding cord as you're breathing, down through the middle of our body, all the way down, and I like to picture we can picture the roots coming out of our feet, all the way down, down, down to Mother Earth. Wrapping the cord around her crystalline cord there like an anchor is there. And wrap that so we're nice and anchored. Deep breath. As we feel the love in our heart opening. Our hearts is going to be like maybe a heart expansive meditation. Because without an open heart, we cannot heal, we cannot give and serve humanity 100%. We ask for this loving energy of God to come through our crown chakra and down into our hearts, warming it, expanding our heart center. You can even put your hands, your left hand on your heart and your right hand over your left hand. Feel energy, and this is just a feeling meditation, just feeling into your body. Any sensation you feel is perfect and correct, and exactly what you need. And I'm being told that this is about, this meditation is to love ourselves. The most important thing is to love ourselves wholly and perfectly as God loves us. Right now there's this beautiful pink light energy from the Divine Mother coming through our bodies, permeating within and without, holding us in a beautiful pink cocoon of safe, healing light. Just feeling into that Divine Mother essence of love, pure, motherly, nurturing, comfort, love. She's saying, fill this up, fill fill you up like a vessel. Let this fill you up like a vessel. You are a vessel of light and love to spread wherever you go, just by being. We don't even have to speak sometimes, just to be in the presence of this energy that we are all made of. When we're in our heart centers, we glow and affect everyone around us, lifting the vibration, changing, transmuting darkness wherever we go. We are all light warriors and workers. It's so important for us to remember who we are as these beautiful divine beings of God, sent here, put here on this planet to serve and be the light and the love. Just breathe into that. It's a lot, but it's the truth. We have many, many helpers all the time. Angels, the galactics, ascended masters. Now I'm feeling more masculine energy coming in. Saint Germain, who likes to bring in the violet flame to transmute anything that may not serve us. Anything that's resisting our hearts to open, or resisting our love from being full and whole. And we spinning the violet flame down the top of our head, through our entire body. Each chakra, let's start at the crown. Spinning that violet flame through the crown, and through our third eye. Bring it down to our throat center, very important center of our throat, to be able to speak clearly from the heart. This area needs to be cleansed and healed, purified. It's okay to cough or anything that stuff comes up when you're clearing, so it's okay if you need to cough. Spin the elephant through the throat, down into the higher heart chakra there, your thymus area. Down into the heart center. And the violet it's a bright color, it's a bright violet. It can be fire color, it can just be a light that you see. It's okay, everything you see, or if you don't see, that's fine too. Feeling is just as important as seeing. Spinning the violet flame down into our solar plexus chakra area, our beautiful will, aligned with guidance. Down to our sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra. The balance of the masculine and feminine, sacral, creative center. Into our root chakra. Which grounds us to our beloved Mother Earth. And then we like to spin it all the way down our legs. So chakras through our whole body, so we're spinning it all around our arms, our legs, down to our ankles, our feet. And he spins it up the entire body. This violet flame is spinning the entire body, so we're in this now cocoon of pink from the Divine Mother and the violet flame. And we ask for beautiful white light, the Christ of God, to just bathe us. Like a cloak all around us. Take a deep breath, letting this all soak in. And just being this beautiful light and energy and love. And letting go of anything that doesn't serve. Letting the violet flame just take it. It's a choice. You just say, I don't need this anymore. You can take it. I give it up to you, God, my mother, to my father. If we could just say all together, I am love.
I am love.
And love.
Love.
I am light.
I am light.
I am the love and the light.
I am the love and the light.
Blessings, all of you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Ivy. Very nice.
Called Made Without a Mold. So I wrote this yesterday, and the meditation that we just had will align very nicely with the lyrics of the song. Everyone is born, everyone's born with a poetic license to live freely without compliance. Each person born unique, made without a mold. But just act normal, that's what we're told. My religion is all about love. If you give me a list of religions, I'll check all the above. God is the energy that I'm feeling. Everything is filled with sacred meaning. When someone is complaining about the situation, I reach inside myself for a higher vibration. Let's look at situations as being neutral. It's what we focus on that creates our view. When we can't see a bright side, know there's a seed underground that needs your light. I give thanks when I remember to realize everything's a blessing in disguise. That's my topic.
These are this is the voice. Just celebrate.